Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is PaaS, Propelling Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and this is the seventh session in the Cloud Computing series. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Satishan Warrior, Director OSRDG Cloud Computing Services. Mr. Satishan is currently engaged in software product design and development, leveraging several open source initiatives and public cloud computing platforms. He founded OSRDG Cloud Computing Services in 2007. He has been solely managing its business interests ever since. He conducts public workshops on cloud computing technologies and also addresses corporate workshops on Invite. Mr. Satishan Warrior is an experienced application architect and consultant in cloud computing technologies and has conducted more than 25 public workshops and dedicated corporate workshops on the topic so far. A good clientele has benefited from his consulting, design, and development skills in cloud technologies. He's passionate about evangelizing and promoting cloud computing among small and medium businesses and web entrepreneurs. He is a certified PMP and IBM certified people manager. He has more than 2 decades of experience in software exports, strategic outsourcing engagements, offshore delivery projects, software product development services, recruitment and people management before founding OSRDG Cloud Computing Services. He has spoken at various national and international seminars. His past career had been with IN Idea Interactive Private Limited, IBM Software Labs, IBM Global Services, Larsen and Toubro Infotech Limited, PAC Limited, Patni Computer Systems, VJTI Mumbai, and DRDO Pune. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Satishan.
Hey, thank you very much, uh, Mohini, for giving this good opportunity to present and share the experience on PaaS. So let me begin with the first slide. Well, we will start with a few definitions which will help our overall objective of this session. First of all, innovation. It is a word quite widely used in the IT industry and elsewhere. Let us see what Business Dictionary talks about it. The process of translating an idea or invention into a good or services that creates value or for which customer will pay. So that's the word here. An idea for which customer will pay, and moreover it should be replicable at an economical cost. Slide transition is taking a little time. Let's wait for it. Entrepreneurship. The capacity and willingness to develop, organize, manage business venture along with any of its risks in order to make a profit. Yes, that's what's very important for us. We all are into business and we would like to make a profit on all efforts what we put in on the technology. PaaS. To put it in simple terms, PaaS is the middleware. It is an infrastructure software to build, deploy, serve, and monitor your applications. And it has all requirements to how to operate, how to optimize your application. It is the intermediary between underlying system infrastructure and overlaying application software. Next, let us see the simple taxonomy on cloud computing. This is for the benefit of people who are quite fresh into the subject. See, the cloud provider, they own huge data centers and several services running on them. They offer us several services and components under the utility computing paradigm. It means that we pay for what we use. There can be variations to it. However, if you become one of the cloud user to them, then you can become a SaaS provider. To become a SaaS provider, one has to master a few cloud computing platforms or a select platform and should have the capabilities to develop web applications. So as a SaaS provider, you sit and develop web applications and make it available to the public or for the corporate. So then end user really consume software as a service. So this simple taxonomy of cloud computing is quite important because when you look into the services market and offerings on cloud technologies, you may find several cloud providers, you may find several SaaS providers, and it is quite important that you should understand where you place yourself. So if you are interested in building a career or doing a business along with cloud provider, you should go to such huge, very huge businesses such as Microsoft or Google or Akamai, or for that matter, there are a lot of cloud providers coming up every other day. But when you look at in a scenario like our society where the resources are at huge constraint and at the same time there is abundance in talent, being a SaaS provider could be a good option. And as a SaaS provider, you continuously build web applications looking at the market requirement and make it available on the internet so that SaaS user may pay you for the functionality of your applications and based on its usefulness. Slide is transitioning, please wait. Fine. PaaS caters to both. When you look at the scenario, an application architect, he looks for ways and means to build and meet the application's functional requirements. But that is not sufficient for an entrepreneur. What he needs is an assurance from the provider to meet most of the non-functional requirements such as reliability, scalability, elasticity. You just name all abilities which could not be met in early 2000 caused the called .com burst. Application might have caught somebody's imagination as a market imagination, but the infrastructure requirement for running such an application is very huge, and sometimes it may not be even possible to scale to the market response. So entrepreneur in web is always worried about how good, how scalable, how economical can be my platform or the web serving infrastructure. And luckily, we are in an era where PaaS caters to both. So if you are a developer, you may start looking at architecting an application, and you may start making use of the services and APIs provided by PaaS. But if you are an entrepreneur or both, you will look into the capability of the platform to scale and the reliability and so on and so forth. PaaS vendors, I'm providing you a partial list. The list is so huge so that we cannot really make any meaningful discussion on all the PaaS vendors. But just to mention a few, Google App Engine is coming from the well-known Google Incorporate, and Cloud Foundry is from VMware. Amazon Web Services, probably the most successful infrastructure as a service company, and Heroku. So what is the difference? All these platforms are around, and this is a very small list what we are talking about. There are a huge number of players in this market. All PaaS vendors will have their own unique selling propositions. Also, they will have restrictions on how we can make use of their platform. It is not that some platform can make use of all technologies around. For example, you take the case of Google App Engine, where you can use popular technologies like Java Stack as well as Python, and also a language called Go. Cloud Foundry claims to be an open source initiative. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And Amazon Web Services has got something called Beanstalk, which supports Java Stack. We move to the next slide. An entrepreneur's lifeline. Let us look at it. This is interesting. When you are in web business, what really add value to your business is the activities around develop, test, and operate. That really differentiate your application from the rest. However, if you are in web, there are a lot of compulsions you come across for undifferentiated non-value apps, hardware, software, communication, upgrades, load balancing, scaling, utilization, server management, replication, etc., and of course high availability. An entrepreneur's life really gets very difficult in terms of the capex requirement, in terms of the effort required to coordinate among the technology providers. So, but that is really eating away his resources and time and effort. If you put a small indicator percentage on the effort, in the traditional stack, you will find around 70% of the effort and cost will run into undifferentiated non-value add. At the same time, hardly 30% of the effort will be going into development, testing, and operations. That is not a very good scenario. Let us see this provides a solution also. The moment you see there is a problem, there is a solution. That's where PaaS is entering into. If you adopt a PaaS of your choice, there are certain input costs, irrespective of the PaaS you select. A PaaS provider will charge back any resource which can be measured and metered against your subscription. Most of the PaaS providers allow some free quota to get started to attract new developers and clients. Some providers you will find that offer a fixed free trial period. That's a bit catchy. We do not know really when we start with an application what will be the running cost for it. However, when you evaluate various PaaS vendors, the granularity and transparency in billing your consumption shows the level of sophistication your PaaS provider has attained. That is one of the best measures you can always make use of when you try to compare and contrast various PaaS vendors. Next is the business strategy. This is not prescriptive, but however in the technology business, there is a tendency for businesses to grow with a platform. What does it mean? You may, if you are into say mobile application development business, you may choose Apple as a platform, or you may choose Android as a platform, where your development skills and the ability to develop applications will be understood, and you will also try to understand the platform. Similarly, when it comes to web applications, you may choose a Microsoft Azure, or you may choose Google App Engine, or many other platforms. So then evaluate various platforms, choose your platform, understand the roadmap for your platform, which is very important even in the consulting field. You should really tell your customers what is the roadmap going to be for the product. Then next step will be developing expertise on the platform, technologies and languages supported. Use for third-party libraries and tools. The next step will be building reusable software assets to improve your own productivity. Then start rolling out applications. Nurture the ideas which has captured customer imagination. All significant platforms, please note that, grow fast enough. Exploit the new possibilities continuously. That will bring you to a competitive edge on your application business. We are changing the slide. It is important to see the PaaS and open source sometime, because open source is a movement which has happened a couple of decades back and which has brought a lot of value to the industry as a whole. Where PaaS stands as of now: proprietary data stores, proprietary services, and proprietary APIs. So in effect, if you are choosing a platform and develop applications on that, the lock-in is a reality. Of course, there are a few attempts happening on making the platform itself open source, but we'll have to wait and see how it catches. Platforms generally allow a range of developer choices, JVM-based languages, pure Python frameworks. On that, any of the open source initiatives can be leveraged. For example, if you are looking at Python development, you may find open source movements such as Django framework or other several frameworks. Then you get a choice of libraries and third-party components and frameworks for client-side activities. So PaaS, although it is not may not qualify as an open source, other components which we make use of on PaaS may be derivatives of open source. That significantly brings down the hidden cost. Now, I would like to have a disclaimer on when we talk about Google App Engine as a strategic choice. The basis on which I am talking about GAE is that I am a very satisfied customer on this platform, and I could build a SaaS business on this platform successfully. More than that, it may not be fair to say that I have compared all platforms around and chosen GAE. In 2008 April, when the platform came out, it was a very small very small with very limited capabilities. But when we look at the platform in 2012 end, it has grown. It has grown in functionality, it has grown in its performance, it has reached such a great platform. So that is something important. When you try to develop a business on a platform, you should have sufficient level of confidence on the platform provider. So a few things on GAE platform, you'll find reliability and service level agreements, platform growth and support, developer choices. Then important for the resource constrained community will be free quota and initial cost. Important and equally important will be hidden costs such as licenses and other things. So then equally important will be the incremental cost. Okay, you got started with an application and slowly customers are coming to your application, your consumption increases and you will start paying for the consumption of your customers. So the incremental cost, there is a traditionally in this market you see that all incremental cost on cloud components and services continuously drops. Several, for example, if you take Amazon Web Services, their EC2 cost has come down so many times in past 4 years, and Google App Engine is not also an exception. It's not an exception. They also continuously reduce. Then next is the commitment. Commitment from both sides. How much the cloud provider is committed to the business. That is important. There can be cloud providers who try to do it as a business investment rather than with a great commitment towards running the cloud platform in the long run. So you should be extremely careful when you choose a cloud platform. Then provider's roadmap. Provider's roadmap, how much clear it can become. There are limitations because the platform is continuously evolving. Next element of evaluation to choose a platform may be billing transparency. How transparent is the billing? And that is very important because once you launch an application, there is a lock-in element involved, and what you pay to the cloud provider should be fair and transparent. Next element is how one can monitor the application and do the required optimizations. Then comes the operational ease. Operational ease means do you get all command line tools, or are you getting UI tools for managing your cloud elements and applications? So in my personal experience, Google App Engine has all these purposes to my satisfaction. It may not be the ideal platform for all applications, but for small businesses, small software groups who want to really come up with new good products, it really is a great platform. We're waiting for transition. Fine. It is now the application environment on Google App Engine. This will not be a very deep dive because looking at the profile of the participants on this seminar, it can't be very narrow and deep. So we'll try to keep it somewhere at an intermediate level. Dynamic web serving, full support for common web technologies, persistent storage with queries, sorting and transactions, automatic scaling and load balancing, APIs for a portfolio of services, a fully featured software development kit, task queues for performing work outside the scope of web request. Oh, here's one word I have to talk about. Almost all web applications will be working based on request response model, and there could be tasks. When you come to applications, something like back-end tasks and other things, you may require something like task queues. And for example, every other day you want to send a message to someone, then schedule tasks for triggering events. Moreover, sometimes it may be an application requirement rather than sending a message, something like say annual reconciliation or monthly reconciliation of your accounts. So you need cron jobs. So all these things are available in GAE application environment. We are transitioning to the next. It is a sandbox. Fine, my application will run in a sandbox. It helps me in several ways. It will become secure and it will become a reliable environment for my application. Other applications' resource consumption will not affect me. Similarly, from the security of the application platform itself, limited access to underlying operating system will be given to all applications because it is in a sandbox. So you'll find that GAE offers you high replication data store with synchronous write, non-planned downtime with 99.95% consistent availability. You can always verify the status of this platform is readily available any point of time. How an GAE application can be configured? Application configuration, where you will be handling the static files, then application handles will be configured. Then backends. Backends essentially means that there is no limit for request response time. Then schedule tasks, task queue, and denial of service protection. So all these elements can be configured. There are simple configuration files which helps you to do this, and a technology called YAML. YAML and markup language, that's their logo, is a human-friendly data serialization standard for all programming languages. So YAML files will be used and structure will be used for Python application configuration, YAML or XML for Java applications, and YAML for Go applications. So YAML, otherwise maybe much more popularly known serialization technology may be XML. So it is something equivalent of that. We'll go for the next one. Then what all services and APIs are available? You'll find data store, blob store, memcache, backends, XMPP, channel, images, URL fetch, task queues, and cron. Then mail services, MapReduce for data processing, multi-tenancy for developing applications which can cater to multiple tenants with dedicated namespace, and cloud endpoints for mobile application developers. Then capabilities. Since this is a platform which offers you several services, there could be some downtime from some of the services. So you can use the capabilities, APIs, to find out which services are not available temporarily. Accordingly, you can inform your customers. Then logs, where application logs and system logs can be viewed, as well as even you can get access at the application level itself, not from the administration panel alone. Then OAuth for authorization of several things. One word about user. User APIs helps you to the authentication service, and you have to write your own authorization within the application. Then of course prospective search. Some of these, this list will grow at the same time. Some of these services are stable and available in the production environment. We can definitely use some of the experimental APIs, but with a caution. Sometimes it may get deprecated, or sometimes it may get decommissioned even. In the past history of GAE, we have seen only one API which is getting deprecated and withdrawn by Google, that is conversion. So when you are using any of the experimental APIs, along with the service and API documentation, they clearly states what is experimental, what is not. So on experimental APIs and services if we are using, it would be better to ensure an alternative in case if they deprecate it. So it is something like that. The application has to evolve along with the platform so that it will become a win-win situation for both. Let us have a look at developer tools. Majority of our audience are developers. See, on the Python side, we get three major tools. One is a development server, configuration tool, and data tool. Data tool will help you to upload and download data to cloud. Then configuration tools, as we have seen, it can be used for updating indexes, updating the cron jobs, updating the application itself. And several times in a day, in an hour, you can update your application. That helps you to adopt some of the extreme programming manifesto or agile manifesto in your development environment. Immediately it is available and you can see, or testers can see the application and start doing the necessary testing. Then in Java, there are development tools like Google plugin for Eclipse. Eclipse is one of the most leading IDE, and the GWT is of course proprietary from Google, and it gives you it helps you to develop the front end front end using Java. At the same time, you will get it as JavaScript, optimized JavaScript, and it will be browser agnostic. Then third-party plugin for IntelliJ and NetBeans, of course, those are integrated development environments, IDEs. IntelliJ and NetBeans are also so popular in the IT developer community. Then Apache Maven and Apache Ant. For Go, again, you find development server, configuration tool, and data tool. The tool set is powerful and very few in number. Let's go to the next slide and see what runtime environment. We'll have a look at the runtime environment, what is available currently. Python 2.7, Python standard library. I have put a plus and minus. The reason is that anything related to native code, anything gives access to native elements, such libraries have been either deprecated or negated, or even have been removed. So most of the Python standard library will be available, but your socket libraries and other things will not be available, so that it takes care of the sandbox restrictions. Then several third-party libraries you will find in Python 2.7, runtime, Django, Jinja, all these very interesting names. And it does a great job when it comes to developing your UI and when you try to interact with the server side. Then on the Java side, you will find Java 6 is the current runtime environment and Java 7 is experimental. So basically, Java is a servlet JSP environment. Again, take care of the JRE whitelist. Every classes in JRE cannot be used because of the sandbox restrictions. Then for data store support interfaces, you'll find Java data object and persistence architecture, good interfaces for them. Then storage options. This is quite important. Storage options on GAE, the default has become now high replication data store. There will be synchronous multiple writes happening to several uh, servers, and that takes care of most of the failover and other backup requirements, but has got high performance overhead on basically writing to more than one servers. Then NDB, that is network database. The difference between high replication data store and NDB will be, NDB allows nested entities. It also has integrated automatic caching and also async APIs. See that the difference about caching, in high replication data store, the general flow will be like this. First you check whether the key is available in the memcache, for which you have to write the code for it. And if it is not available in the memcache, you go and access the database. It is a piece of extra code, as well as it is a two-step. At the same time, on NDB, it is integrated. It is an integrated automatic caching is happening. So when you try to access it, you may not. The implementation essentially is high replication database plus memcache. Then under Google APIs, if you are a Google API user, Google Cloud SQL, you can manage under Google API and you can access it from GAE. Then several questions are coming up. We will take it up towards the end. Then Google Cloud Storage. Google Cloud Storage is again you can manage it under Google API, and it is then you can access it from GAE applications. So in general, whatever database Google is talking about, they are schema-less object data stores. And for querying and other things, SQL like query language, you will get, they normally call it as GQL. We'll move to the next slide. Free quota, that is important. If you are a small entrepreneur, getting some free quota and testing the waters by building a small application is quite important. Then if it is catching the imagination, you go ahead with a further marketing plan and also increase the resources and try to work with that. So here front end and back end instance hours 28. What is this 28 instance hours 28? Roughly it may translate to 5 million page views in a month. That is quite large. Then blob store up to 1 GB, data store up to 1 GB, then operations like write and read to data store 50K each. Then log data 1 GB and 100 MB. That is the retrieval rate at a time you can use. This is all for free quota and build. Then you can send 100 emails without paying anything. Then bandwidth size, 1 GB is the bandwidth available to you, and bandwidth consumption rate will be 56 MB per minute. Then task queue calls up to 100K calls, task queue calls you can make. So please note that daily limits and allowed consumption rates go much higher for paid applications. Incremental cost. Once you know the overall design philosophy is such that near zero or very free you can get started, but what is equally important is this incremental cost going to be. Instance hours, you'll find that if you go beyond the free limit, it is 0.08 dollars. Then storage 0.008, code and static file storage 0.0043, and data store writes and reads per million operations $1. Then this one word like how much it takes for writing a simple entity, it may be 15 to 16 write operations. Then bandwidth out per GB will be 0.12. Email per above 200 mails. If you can send up to 10,000 mails for $1. XMPP stanza is again 10,000 K size. It's 0.1. Open channels. Channels are something like that. If you are having an application where a lot of collaboration is happening and you try to integrate it with Google Talk, then the cost involved will be this much. Then with this, if you come to a revenue model, your costs are known to you. Then when you develop your SaaS applications, there could be, you may be interested in revenue models. What is implementable? For multi-tenant applications, per user per month subscription or per month subscription, both are possible. Then for single tenant applications, any of the traditional pricing models like I will develop, then afterwards I will charge for annual maintenance, that kind of thing can happen. Then per user per month subscription definitely is possible. Per month subscription is also possible. On top of it, one can think about cost plus. We will develop and run the applications, and the cost you bear, and on top of it you will be taking this much. So as a businessman, you can look at any of these revenue models. And much more, that's where the real business starts. Once you can innovate your revenue models, there are better chances for. So essentially, PaaS meets business needs. It is easy to get started, dynamically scalable, and reliability, performance, and security. These are assured from these cloud provider. Cost efficiency, free or near zero capital expenses, hosted services to build web applications, developer tooling for popular web technologies, and moreover, and most important, is easy to operate. That is very important. When you are trying to develop an application, start running it for the public, it should be easy to operate. If the demands may go high, demands may come down. There can be application bugs in that. Then how quickly you can fix those bugs and upload. All those things come to. It becomes very handy when it comes to PaaS. So with this, we can take into the discussion or questions and other modes. This is not intended to be very deep dive into GAE, and we are really looking into questions, and either you can post it on that. A few questions are coming up, I will read it out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Satheesan. I've assigned you a few questions. Are you able to see them?
Yeah, you have sent me a few questions. I'm just taking a look at it. What are the basic requirements to a good cloud computing? If I'm a developer of ASP.NET, MVC3, can you give me details of all? So I will go to step by step to cover all the concepts of cloud computing knowledge. Okay, fine. See, if you are an ASP developer, you are very close to Microsoft. Somebody is asking, Jay Pandit is asking me this question. When you look at learning something or trying to do something, your past investment always matters. So if you are an ASP.NET professional, you can think about looking into the options in Microsoft Azure. And all these platforms provides several learning material, tutorials, and try it yourself kind of thing. That is the best point to start with for Jay Pandit. Another question somebody is asking, Rana, I cannot see the full, okay, 1 minute. Rana Chaudhary. Rana Chaudhary is asking how to identify vendor is a SaaS vendor or a PaaS vendor. Yes, that's a very good question. Most of the vendors in the market, uh, they will play across the three streams. For example, if you see, uh, if you classify Salesforce, basically they are, sorry, basically they are SaaS vendors. At the same time, they have got something called a force.com as a platform where you can develop your things. So similarly, when you come to Microsoft offers Azure Fabric as a PaaS. At the same time, Microsoft has got productivity applications selling on cloud. Same is the case with Google App Engine. Google also. Google has got Google Apps. They are into SaaS market, and Google App Engine is into PaaS market. Of course, some of the you will see that they may be stepping into other infrastructure or data storage kind of environment shortly. Then in AWS also, same is the case. They started as infrastructure as a service business. They keep on moving across the realms. Sorry. What is meant by another person? Suresh Kumar is sorry. Suresh Kumar is asking me what is meant by memcache. Fine. Memory cache is something like a volatile memory bank. See, for implementing memory cache, you can see the storage hierarchy. When you see, there will be hard disk on which data is stored, and for reading, hard disk will be again read. Then there can be a layer on top of it, which can be a memory bank, which is much more faster. Flash memories, for example, flash memory can be the implementation for memcache. But for memcache, there are protocols like memcache and other protocols on which is people are trying to implement based on those protocols how to access memcache. It really makes your read much faster. Sorry. Then another question from Pramod Kulkarni. What is GWT? It is Google Web Toolkit. You can always search for it. It is a very powerful tool for developing front end for web applications. And your native skill requirement will be Java. And once you write the panels and develop panels, and GW can convert it into JavaScript, optimized JavaScript. And optimized JavaScript will run on all well-known browsers without any problem. Otherwise, if you are into web development, you will know that the difficulties we face when you try to test with the different web browsers. It used to take a lot of time for that. The appearance will be different, and sometimes the behavior itself of components will be different. So if you can get something like a browser agnostic JavaScript, GWS may be a good answer for it. Is Hibernate is supported to be used with GLE native data store? Oh, this can be an extension. Some of the Spring framework and Strut. You can see examples. People are trying to make use of them. It is possible. Specifically Hibernate, whether it works, I'm not very sure. But similar frameworks like Strut or Spring, of course, we have seen a lot of examples running on that. Of course, data store, the communication between Hibernate and data store. Of course, there is a layer between, so it will be taken care of. That question has come from Eljo P. Jones. What is the difference between XML? Arvind Tripathi is asking what is the difference between XML and YAML. Both are data serialization technologies. You cannot send an object without serializing it over the network. That's the basis of that. So XML is not so human friendly. One limitation for XML, but it is widely used. YAML is quite readable. That is the basic difference when we look from an end user point of view or an end programmer point of view. Then YAML is also used on something called RESTful API. Also XML for SOAP, for example, two types of protocols are APIs are around. One is SOAP as well as another one will be RESTful. So in case of XML is extensively used with SOAP. Sorry. That's another question. Any more questions? If we have time, you can send me more questions if there are questions. Hello.
Questions, Mr. Satishan, can you see them?
Did you send anything new?
Yeah, I have sent you a lot more questions.
Oh, lot of questions. Let me see. What is okay? 1 minute. Adul Dika is asking, why should I choose the cloud network instead of regular network? The reason we try to discuss is that when you have a web application, you have two choices. Either you go for a shared hosting environment or you go for a public cloud. Or you can have something very native to your company. And the expertise required to maintain a data center and the capex investment on that is going to be very high. And operational needs also is not very much on that. So in such cases, people will prefer to go for cloud network. How to start off in cloud computing using Salesforce platform? Yes, fine. Salesforce.com you visit, and there are a lot of applications and tools available on Force.com platform. Get started with a small idea and try to implement it and see and learn the nuts and bolts of that platform. That will be the starting point for you, Praveen Touch. Another person is writing, Praveen Chitarla is asking, session is good, can we use cloud computing in SharePoint? Yes, it is on our SharePoint consultants can learn this and which way. You will have to go for SharePoint is a product from Microsoft. You may have to go for Microsoft Azure to learn and master that. Can you please give me the difference between innovation and invention? That's interesting. Both are one. Never. Both are not same. For example, if you see, the best example when we quote on innovation could be iPod from Apple. All technologies used in iPod was invented long back. It was available everywhere. But when they tried to put them together and build a product for which people will pay and buy, it has become the greatest innovations of recent times. Same is the case with cloud as a technology also. All technologies were around for 50, 40 years back. All were around. But some of the technologies could be implemented with much lower cost. And when they try to put them together, Cloud has become an innovation by itself. Now, I hope I have answered this question. All inventions will not lead to innovation. Innovation as such is a separate process. That is a question from Rajesh Pannahugi. Next question is, which one is better, Heroku or GAE? I feel Java and GAE has some limitations. Sorry, Eljo George is asking that question. This is sometimes subjective if you are working on Heroku platform. I don't have a lot of expertise. There are other platforms where Java stack is supported also. It may be fair to compare Heroku with platforms such as Salesforce or AWS. Of course, limitations are mostly, there are no limitations per se. Currently, what is supported are the JVM based languages, GAE has supported. And what is not directly supported by Google, maybe having third-party libraries to support that. So per se, you won't find anything as a limitation. I am currently a Java developer. This is Praveen Rajara. I am currently a Java developer and interested into Salesforce development. How I go about it? Visit force.com first and get the SDK down and start developing your skills. And find a small idea which looks interesting on the web and start implementing it. That's the best way. Instead of running around for training programs and other things, start doing it with your hands. What is the usage percentage of PaaS nowadays? Approximate. Wow. There are no clear. That is from Bhavik Joshi. Has left anyway. Fine. I will answer that question. What is the usage percentage of PaaS nowadays? It is very less. It is that market is just yet catching up. What are the tools used for GAE? This question from Pramod Kulkarni. Lot of tools. If you are a Java developer, you may use lot of plugins from Google and also plugins from other third-party like IntelliJ or maybe NetBeans. Then Google has its own something called Google Web Toolkit. I hope that's the end of the questions.
Yeah, those were the only questions we had, Mr. Satishan. Thank you so much for the insightful
Yeah,
presentation.
right, thanks.
I'm really thankful to you for
Thank you very
conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this session would be available on techgeek.com by tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much.